Welcome to the Tulsa Music Stream. And now, your host, Scott and Janice Squires. You want the dirt? You've got it.
Hey everybody, it's Good Friday, isn't it?
Not yet.
Close.
I mean, it is a Good Friday.
It is
it's
a Good
not
Friday.
the Good Friday.
Right, it's not
Recording
the.
in progress.
But hey guys, we are Tulsa Music Stream, and this is episode 102. And shortly we will be joined with Elias Soriano from Nonpoint, lead singer. And it's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to it. Great guy. Did a lot of research on him, and I dig his stuff. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great chat.
Definitely. And we're going to get into this once he's in here with us. But if you guys are not familiar with Nonpoint, or even if you are, I highly encourage you all to go to YouTube. Go to the Nonpoint YouTube channel and go to their video section. And there's a ton of videos there, but if you really want to get a sense of who these guys are and how driven they are and how hardworking they are and how much you as a fan means to them, go to the video section. And first of all, it kind of starts out with a teaser. It's just a few-minute teaser about the creation of their own independent record label called 361 Degrees Records. That alone, I mean, I got goosebumps watching that. But then they take you through. I think it's like a 3-part video series where it's right around the time right before COVID hit, and they're in the process of writing new music and getting ready to release and launch this new label. And then, of course, we know what COVID did to the world, and of course, it impacted them as well. But it takes you through that journey, and I'm so anxious to talk to him about that journey and how things have been going, since then as an independent artist. So we have a lot to cover with him.
Yes, indeed. And as always, if you would, please share this stream on your favorite pages, your favorite groups here on Facebook. I tried to share some, but it seemed like they changed it up a little bit, so I wasn't able to share it as much as I wanted to. But if you guys could help us out, man,
Yes.
share that on your favorite, on your pages or your favorite groups. Maybe tag some friends that might be interested in watching this live stream with Elias. As always, we are on YouTube, and you can hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just look us up, Tulsa Music Stream on YouTube, and you can hit that notification bell. And we're close to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be great to hit that mark. And of course, we're on Facebook. We are on Twitter at TUL Music Stream and Twitch. And if you're in the mood to listen to us on podcast platforms such as Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, we are on all sorts of podcast platforms. So if you miss an episode, you can always check us out on, in your vehicle, or at work or something like that. And as always, you can listen to us without even seeing our faces, and that is sometimes cool.
It's true. And we've got the fan chat pulled up. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, this is going to be a really great episode. We're on a couple minutes early. We do this to give everybody time to get settled in and us get our little introductory spiel out of the way before we bring the guests on. But you are such a crucial part of what we're doing here. The more you participate, the more fun it is. With our guests, we try to take as many viewer comments and questions as time will allow. Some episodes, there's more time than others. Depends on, how much the artist would like to, talk. And we try to give them as much time as they want and need to tell their story. But again, you are such a crucial part of what we're doing. like Scott said, help us share this with your friends that are into music, into metal, into Nonpoint. Just people are going to enjoy it, and the more you share, the more it gets out there to more people. So we truly appreciate all your efforts on that. While we await Elias's arrival, I want to tell you guys real quick about our sponsors. They're scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. We are sponsored by Greg Shipman Photography.
Yeah, he just did a Dress to Kill show.
He did. Amazing.
Yeah,
Jason
good job.
Jason on drums, and they killed it. Okie PC, DEB Concerts, Identity Merch, and Psychomo Filmworks. Those guys make things happen for us that you aren't even aware of, but they're a big part of the show. Thank you, Elizabeth Talcott, for sharing. We appreciate that. That really, truly helps spread the word. And anyway, what I was saying, we'll be talking about the sponsors again at the end of the show. We do want to make sure everyone is clear on the location for the upcoming Lita Ford Last in Line show, because that has changed. And so we'll be putting the new updated flyer on the screen for you guys, so you know where to go. Check in for that. So while we await his arrival, tell me how you're doing. How was your week?
Well, it's really cool. It's spring. It's getting ready. It feels like spring already, and people are already going to festivals. I guess Monsters of Rock cruise just happened, so a lot of people seemed like they had a really good time there at Monsters of Rock cruise. And, there's so many festivals that are starting to develop, and you're seeing these flyers and all this stuff. So the rock and roll festival season is amongst us. And, it's so great to see all these bands getting out there and playing and playing outdoors and just rocking it out, man.
Absolutely. When you start smelling those lovely Bradford pear trees outside, that concert season is just around the corner. And one thing, I watched an interview doing the research for Elias. He actually made a comment. They like touring in the winter, and I hope I remember to ask him why that is, because it seems like there'd be so many challenges with traveling and getting through just those cold months. But then again, that makes a lot of sense, because when it's freezing outside, you're not going to be battling people doing many outdoor activities. So that actually does make a lot of sense. But we are awaiting his arrival still. Like we always tell you, this is the joy of live broadcasting. You kind of just, I'm talking like he's late. It's 6:01. He's going to be here any minute. So we're looking forward to him coming on. Elizabeth, you were at, okay, there's your comment right there. She says, hell yeah, Mork, is that the right way to say it? Mork, Monsters of Rock Cruise was amazing. We could tell you guys had quite the time, and I can't wait to hear more from you, share your stories about that. But would you ever want to go on a cruise yourself?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you don't think you'd get seasick or anything?
I don't think so.
I think I would, so I'd have to load up on the Dramamine for sure. But I'm just checking my email to make sure there haven't been any issues. I don't think there have. Guys, we had mentioned last time we were on that we are always on the hunt for new sponsors. So it doesn't take a lot if you want to be a sponsor. The only thing is we did have someone approach us, and he asked us to give him some run on the show, which we're totally good to do, but we weren't real clear on, the benefit back to us. I mean, it's kind of got to be a two-way street. And we were talking, it would be a deal where if you have a business that you want to promote, we'd like to start doing giveaways where we're, maybe doing some trivia stuff on the show, giving away prizes to the viewers. If you had a business with like some swag or merch, like shirts or hats or whatever, that you wanted to, give us, and then we could help you advertise your business. That's kind of how the two-way street works. Just people partnering together to make things better. So that's kind of what we're looking for in the sponsor realm. Okay, he's
cool.
Coming in.
Awesome.
Man, we stretched that out.
No, you're fine. Don't ever tell on yourself.
No.
Don't ever say you're sick if you're live. Don't just gotta go with it, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
There it is.
Hey, Elias, can you hear us okay?
Hey, yes, I can. How
Awesome.
you doing?
Awesome.
Man, we're doing great. I'm going to put you on screen so you sound great on our end as well. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are Tulsa Music Stream. We're a husband and wife podcast team based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we have had so much fun this week researching you and learning more about you. And we've got a lot of ground to cover with you. Of course, we want to kind of go through your history. I cannot wait till we get to the part where we get to talk about 361 Degrees Records because, man, it fires me up what you guys are doing with that. But we're going to build that bridge from your history to your now. But awesome. I thought the first thing we absolutely need to talk about are these dates coming up because let's face it, these live shows are where the magic happens. It's the direct connection between the fans and the band. So I trust you can see this on my screen. I've got there's a handful of dates here for the Million Watts tour coming up that you guys are starting out next month. It's pretty much nonstop for like a solid month. Why don't you give us a sense of what the fans can expect from you guys, like set list wise, presentation wise, at these shows coming up?
Well, it was such a success the first time around with the first leg of the tour. We wanted to kind of repeat that same kind of vibe and that same kind of style. And this lineup definitely gives that party vibe and definitely gives that bounce that we like in our lineups. So we feel like it's really going to be a good time from beginning to end. The dudes in Dropout Kings are a lot of fun, and Head is amazing live and tore it up last tour. So I'm excited for people to have a great show from beginning to end.
You guys have toured with Head from day one, pretty much, haven't you? I mean, there must be a real special chemistry between you guys and those guys to have this bond all these years later.
Yeah, it's years, decades actually, a couple of decades now. One of our first major tours was going out with Head, and we repeated that tour quite a bit. So to come back around full circle and us being able to take them out is a blessing for us. And like Jared says at our shows, it's like Christmas came early. This tour is a lot of fun, and I feel like the fans get a great show, and for what ticket prices are and all the extra fees and everything that they have, that a lot of times we don't have a lot of control over. It's nice to know that fans are going to be entertained from the very beginning of the show.
And you guys just added a few extra Texas shows. I see Dallas. You'll be at the Trees there.
Yeah, we got some calls from Trees wondering why the hell we weren't stopping in to play. Dallas is one of our favorite towns to play, and at the time it was just a radius conflict with another show. So as soon as we found out we weren't playing, we immediately open the floodgates for Dallas. So that's going to be a great show.
Well, it's just a few hours from us, so everyone in Tulsa, man, get on out there and check out Nonpoint.
That's right. And then let's talk about this Louder Than Live festival. Now, you guys are on the slot for Friday, September 27th, just a few slots before the Mighty Slayer. Now, what I wanted to ask you about this, I kind of want to get a sense of what is this vibe like when you're on a bill with all of these bands? Do you find, I'm sure you find yourself getting inspired to just bring your A game, to just shine super bright amongst all your peers? Obviously there are a lot of friendships, I'm sure, but do you all get a little bit competitive, a little bit?
A little friendly.
I don't think, I try to stay away from that, to be honest with you. And,
awesome.
And, I think this is how every artist is. I think that's the way people would assume. It's like, it looks like a sporting event lineup. When you see that kind of, those kind of names and you those memorable faces, memorable voices, memorable guitar riffs, and drum fills. All those things are things that I think us as performers, we just want to do really good for y'all. And really just for us first, because we know if we do it awesome, that we're satisfied with it, y'all will probably be blown away by it, because we're our worst critics. I just saw it. I forget who said the quote. Country artist, I forget her name. She was talking about the fact that artists and vocalists are some of our hardest critics are ourselves, because we'll hit one bad note or even two bad notes in a night, and it'll ruin a show for us sometimes, just depending on the if I'm Jimmy Kimmel and all of a sudden I crack, it's gonna it definitely wears on the internal ego a little bit.
Absolutely.
But, this artist, God, I'm gonna, please, if you know the artist, put it in the comments so that way she's tagged and she's properly credited for this. But on a test, if you got 2 questions out of 100 wrong, you would still be an A+. So fans are there to see you be perfect. Fans are there just to see you, and you're human. So
right.
It's okay to do that and have those frayed edges, like Rick Rubin says. It's capturing sometimes that human side of the performance, to go, hey, it was awesome because of the energy from beginning to end. Yes. So I think everybody on the stage on a show like Louder Than Life is just bringing their A game for the sake of the fact that we're on a Danny Wimmer Presents stage in front of the rock fans. These are all true rock fans that go to these big festivals. So I'm excited to be out in front of them.
It's going to be amazing.
And then you're also going to be heading to the UK with Soil.
Yeah,
that was just announced.
Getting back out there. Haven't been there since Fozzy, so we're excited to get back there. This one's going to be great because we're going with our friends and a package that I think from beginning to end is gonna have that same kind of breadth that the Million Watts tour is gonna have. If you're going to that show, you're going because you want to see that kind of show. So I'm excited.
And as I told you, we did a lot of research on you guys and honestly have fallen in love with you just over the span of the last few days. I'll get into more of why that's the case. You're just near and dear to my heart at this point, watching your videos of how you have built yourselves into this independence, and we'll get into that here in just a minute. But I want to talk to people about the VIP experience that you guys offer. Now, again, Nonpoint loves their fans, and I'm not talking, I love you guys, good night. I'm talking, you guys mean everything to them, and that becomes abundantly clear the more you learn about Nonpoint. So why don't you share with people what they're going to get? This is not some cheesy shuffling through a line, 30-second handshake with the band and you're out. Tell people what they get when they sign up for this VIP experience with you guys.
You get the obvious trinkets and the behind the scenes pass and the early access and the early access to merch and all that good stuff. But, we really like to, talk to our fans out there in the in the VIP experience and let them ask any questions that they want. A lot of these people have been waiting a very long time to get that close to us. So, we give them a little opportunity, walk them through any gear that they want to ask questions about. And, even sometimes let them come up depending on how, insurance and with certain venues. So we try to walk them through who takes care of us, introduce them to our crew, that behind the scenes kind of peak and connection with us. And then we play some music for them. A lot of times we play new stuff or, fool around with stuff. We do covers and just, goof really and have fun. A lot of times most of the time we play stuff that we don't play in the set to give them a little bit of a different vibe. We got a lot of songs, and a little variety. We have a lot of songs. We have, almost 200 songs that are published. So, we got to pack a lot of songs into that set. Yeah. And even then we miss some of their favorites. So when we can squeeze a couple extra on the front end. It's fun for them, especially if it's something they haven't heard in a while.
Now, she mentioned Louder Than Life, and of course, you're no stranger to Rocklahoma. You've been here. You've played their festival. Recently, you shared a little video from you guys playing Ozfest, and you said, "Look at the baby faces" or something. Man, talk about Ozfest, and that was years ago, and I've never been to an Ozfest, but what were some of those memories like doing the Ozfest back in the day?
It was the first real festival run that I did, and that was during the time where, there were back-to-back shows. We were playing off dates even just to keep the gas tank full at the time. But the experience was exactly what I would have imagined it was going to be for my first festival experience. A lot of camaraderie, a lot of memories, a lot of friendships that started there that I still have to this day because of that tour. A lot of things, being witness to a lot of things that have changed since then. The delivery of music and just the festival model as a whole. But I would say the thing that I was most awed by was that lineup was pretty insane.
Yeah.
The Ozfest that we were on. And to rub elbows with all those artists and to gain a lot of their respect, and like I said, to forge friendships that 20 years later I'm still friends with Chad Gray, and we just did a tour with them, and it's like it shot us right back to that same time.
It's an amazing launching pad, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just a little, we got a couple gray hairs, and outside of that, it's the show still matters, the music still matters.
Yeah.
And as the music industry really does this really well, I credit, the personalities and the fact that the music industry is very forgiving in the fact that you don't see each other that often. So when you do finally reconnect, you pick right up. There's no like, well, damn, you haven't called me, or hey, why haven't you liked my posts or some shit? It's never like any like heavy guilt. And when I first came into this industry, it was a breath of fresh air, because you deal with that in your regular everyday, where people are like, hey man, you haven't called me in a while. It's just like, people have lives, life is life. And, sometimes you disconnect, and if you miss somebody, reach out and pretend like you just talked to them yesterday, and watch what happens. It's going to be a better world, I promise you.
Absolutely. I told you we've been researching you for the last several days. Before we start getting into the history of the band, and we're going to kind of go top level, quick view over the history, because I really want to drill into the now with you. But as I said, the takeaways I have after just a few days of research, I feel like you guys' work ethic is second to none. Your band runs like a well-oiled machine, and the fans mean absolutely everything to you guys. And that is just so evident as we've done the research. Now let's talk about 97, when the band forms. What are your memories of getting the call to join the band? And then what are some of your favorite memories in the early days, as far as like the bonding with the guys and watching the band start to take its sound and shape?
Well, it really wasn't a case of me getting a phone call.
Okay.
It was, and I laugh because I know the truth. It's not anything against your research at all.
Sure.
It's just, the story goes, I know it's probably printed elsewhere, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes here. Shows how old I am. Probably don't even use Cliff Notes anymore. So I was a host at a restaurant, and I befriended a Puerto Rican dude named Hector Graziani, who later became the bass player for 40 Below. He invited me to watch his band jam and hang out. And, you know, I was young and, you know, I smoked weed. So I, you know, he was my hookup at the time. He's like, hey man, come hang out. I was like, yeah, man, we'll hang out, listen to some music. And, you know, I really wasn't into rock music at the time, and to be totally, fully transparent. And I was into hip hop. And Hector and the boys were kind of constantly playing, and Hector heard me singing around the restaurant for like old ladies happy birthday to make an extra $5 here, $10 here. And you know, he was like, hey man, you got a voice, man, you should you know, jam with my band, you should jam. And I'm like, all right, you know, I was thinking about it, but you know, we just hung out, and it was, their singer wasn't even really showing up to practice. I think it was like 2 whole months went by before you know, we even put on the show, and he had never came to practice. So I was showing up to their practice for like 2-3 months, and he was never showing up. So I one day walk in, and they're playing a song, and Rob, the drummer that you just showed in that picture, goes, so what, man, you gonna sing or something? I heard you could sing. You gonna pick up a mic and sing or what? And looked very aggressive. And I was like, yeah, I guess. So,
wow.
So they started playing a song that at the time, Hector, the bass player, was like, hey man, you should like jam some stuff. You know, here's a pen, here's a piece of paper. Let me play you this demo and try to write something. Let's see if you can jam some stuff, you know? So on the way there, I wrote some stuff, and which later became part of Mind Trip. You know, it's funny. Then we go to practice. We're there for like 20 minutes, and then Rob says that, and I grab the microphone, and they start playing the song, and I start rapping because that's what I knew what to do. And, you know, during the practice, you could see Rob bobbing his head during the playing. So, you know, like every natural drummer would play, they're into it. They're jamming, you know. I wasn't part of the band yet, so I just watched the room, so that's all I get to see is them. So I got Rob's, you know, moves. I'm there rapping, and all of a sudden his moves completely changed. He froze. He was still playing, but his head stopped bobbing, and he looks over at Hector, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye looking over at Hector and looking back at me and looking back at Hector and looking back at me, and then he looks back at Hector and then does what's called the Puerto Rican point. You know how you Puerto Ricans point? Do you know how Puerto Ricans point?
No, show us. I'm going to put you on full screen. There we go.
We point with our chin. He was like playing. He goes,
oh, okay.
All right.
and he points with his chin. And they stop about 3/4 of the way of the song. Rob stands up and he goes, you're in the band.
Sweet. Wow.
And but I didn't ask to be in the band.
Really?
No, I didn't ask to be. I didn't plan on being in the band. I had no commitment of being in any band, nor had I ever been in a band before. So that was it. That was my. He was like, "You're in the band," and I was kind of like, "I'm in the band. What does that mean? What do you mean I'm in the band? So what? I'm just like in the band, and you know, it's like, yeah, you're in the band now. I'm like, all right. So what's the next steps, and what do we do here? So we just continue to write music, and you know, through some early member changes as we were honing in what we wanted the sound to sound like, it kind of fell to the first 4. That was Nonpoint.
And what's interesting is how you were able to grow this vocal style that many don't have that vocal style like you, because you can go like, you know, from point A to point B to point C, and it's you know, you got this angry tone, and then you have, you know, the the melody, the very soft melody, and it's like, wow. It's
Very
like
diverse.
how did you grow this vocal style? And you know, we bring in guitar players. We talk about. Go ahead.
I was a theater kid. I was a theater kid, man. I was a theater kid.
Wow.
I was a theater kid. I got into theater late in high school, but it definitely was what I feel like I like to play on stage. It's fun. It's definitely fun. It's where you get to it's where you get to paint.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
We, like I said, we bring in guitar players. We talk about their gear, and you seem to be, the guy with the mic, and you like to have the cord. You know, you're not a wireless mic type guy. Tell me why that is. Is this just something that it's kind of you got to have, a clutch, or, something like a crutch, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, I kind of been painted in a corner, and I'm on a cordless again.
Is that right?
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, because I've been moving way more these days.
Okay.
And as a whole, we have been. And a lot of crossing on stage, a lot of moving on stage, and a lot of tangle, feet and really headstocks and things like that. So, we but we have good gear, and that's what it comes down to. I did like playing with the cord. It was a lot of fun. And when I do get it back every once in a while, when frequencies aren't allowing the cordless to work, I definitely have my fun with it when I do get the chance. But again, it's just part of the trip.
Every guy has their thing, Every guy has their thing, and then I was like, that's just probably something he likes, and he bonded with that style, like a lot of the old '70s rockers,
Yeah, at the time I did, but I can't lie and say I don't love being nimble now on stage. I definitely like having the freedom to move in every direction and as quickly or as high or as low as I possibly can or want to.
When I was going through pictures, I had to pick this one because A, the height of the jumps, and B, the size of the pedal board down there on the right lower side. Whose monster pedal board is that? That's amazing.
That's Jason,
okay.
my guitar player. Yeah, all the guys have Kempers, so those are all the controls to the amps.
Man,
and then some pedal stuff on the side. So
okay.
it looks big, but it's actually really simplified, and the guys are really good about having that streamlined gear that not only do they get to play with a bunch of stuff, but
sure, it's
for the most part reliable, and it usually sounds the same. So that's the good part.
That is good. So I'm going to go a little bit faster than I had initially intended because we're already almost 30 minutes into our visit with you. And okay, so let's talk about this. As we're looking at your different releases, your different album releases, there's a lot of kind of jumping between labels. The thing I wanted to ask you about that, like when you guys would make a decision to hook up with a label or maybe to leave a label, what factors would lead you guys into signing with a label? And then what factors kind of told you, okay, I think it's time to move on? Maybe they weren't quite seeing the same vision you were or doing as much as you'd hoped they'd do. What led into all the label jumping is what I'm getting at.
I think it really led it. We've been around for a very, very long time. If you look at how many different ways Nonpoint music has been delivered, that really says a lot. I was talking to my the guy that I put in charge of my label, Rob Rusha. He, I brought it up. It's like we've seen it go from tape and CD to downloads, illegal downloads, to then selling MP3s and downloads, and then it going to DSPs. That's 5 different ways that it moved. With all of those changes across 20 plus years, also comes a lot of change in industry.
Yeah.
So when labels go from there being literally 12 major labels to 6 major labels to 3 major labels, because, you know, the larger ones are surviving and buying those contracts, and then, you know, deciding, okay, listen, instead of us paying this amount of money to put out this record, let's pay them to not put out the record, because then we'll have enough money to put this and blow this up and make all these decisions that we have no part of. So when you look at the history of Nonpoint, we went from MCA to Lava Atlantic because MCA folded, and Geffen bought us out. So we went literally debt-free straight over to Lava Atlantic after MCA had spent almost $2 million promoting our band. So
wow.
it was smart business for us to go to another label who was going to give us that same machine that had us selling 5,000 to 10,000 records a week. Mm-hmm. So the industry was still developing artists. You know, I was part of a genre that was exploding at the time.
Right.
So when, you know, break to then another 5 years after that, now you're looking at almost 8 years, 9 years into our career, it shifts again.
Yeah.
So it goes from, okay, now Lava is no longer, we could actually get distribution because of the weight of our brand. Let's go into distribution. And we went into distribution and we did very well. We dropped To the Pain.
Yeah.
That did amazing as an independent record. Mm-hmm. It's our most revered record. From there, people wanted to work with us. So, you know, deals came again because they were, you know, coming from different labels that had younger teams that understood a lot of the things that we were requesting. So we were like, let's give this a try. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I attest our moving and, you know, things like our member changes or, you know, anything throughout our career as, you know, it's a time thing. You know, any business is going to go through changes. Mm-hmm. If you look at how many times, you know, logos change for one particular brand over the last 20 years. Think about how many times their entire infrastructure or their entire, you know, business had to rebrand, or they scaled from just, you know, being on the West Coast to now being Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know, a lot can happen in 20 years. So I say it's a lot of our survival instinct. Mm-hmm. and being business forward and making sure that we keep that in mind when we're also working the creative as hard as we do.
Tell me a little bit about the grind that goes into all this. I mean, we're talking, I mean, you're doing all this touring and you guys have been pretty much nonstop from the get-go. And, you know, all these recordings now, you're doing these EPs and you have to promote all this stuff. The travel, the expenses. I mean, can the grind be a bit much doing all this?
It's part of the gig. I mean, I tell people all the time, you have to weigh out your quality of life, quantity of life. I get to spend 7 days a week, 24 hours a day with my wife and my daughter when I'm home. And not a lot of people in a 9-to-5 grind get to do that. Yeah. Granted, I leave for a month, maybe a month and 2 weeks, but I'm home for 3 months. And if you did that kind of math, I see my family way more than a lot of families see each other. So wow. I don't, and now through our independence, being smart with the way that we rebranded ourselves, we set up our infrastructure. We were smart enough to have gone through the labels and seen how good, focused, caring teams can take care of you. That's what we tried to build around us. People that were professional, people that knew what they were talking about, and people that were like-minded in the ideas of keeping us innovative. So that way we could continue to make music and to continue to put it out. The only difference is now instead of, you know, MySpace banners and, handing out, CD singles at, from Streetwise at Ozfest. Now I have to do TikTok campaigns and all this other stuff. And that takes re-education and structuring. And I try to stay educated for all of us in the band, and members of the band keep me educated on things. And then we take these grand ideas and with enough business sense and our business in mind, we set our teams in motion to help us find our dreams.
Yeah.
So some quick viewer comments, and then we're going to go ahead and get into where at least I would like to talk about the 361 Degrees records. Let me read a couple of viewer comments that I just caught. Amy Nicole says, coming up on 5 years sober, and I still recall a personal message Elias sent me of encouragement when I was on my way to detox. I'll never forget that. Bro, that's so cool, man. God, that's what it's all about right there.
That kind of brings me to when I was first introduced to you guys. Of course, we've heard all of the Genesis cover and everything, but I would listen to Octane and then I got to hear you guys. But Fix This, your song, that kind of helped me. I'm 3 years sober now, and I'm not sure what that song is about, what you wrote it about, but for me, it was about I needed to fix something in order. I wasn't alone in this, but I needed to fix something, and I eventually did. And I just wanted to say thank you for that song. It was great, and it helped me as well.
Thank you, man. I say this about Nonpoint music. Somebody asked me to describe it, and we're out here just trying to throw a lifeline. Honestly, in every single direction, whether it be because you're stressed out and all you do is work. And we want you to come to a show, and I'm going to force you to smile and have a good time. You're not going to leave without having a good time. Yeah. And, same thing with listening to, any one of our records. Sometimes I'm a little abstract on what I say, but you get the general idea of the emotion that I'm trying to invoke from that particular song. And, I'll use a catchy word here and there or a snappy line. But it's really the connection that I'm trying to make with the listener. So that way they do exactly what you did, which is make the song theirs as much as it is mine.
Cool, man.
Couple more comments. We have DaPip361 in here saying Nonpoint VIP is awesome. This will be my 8th VIP 25th show. That is so cool. And then a mutual friend of ours, Wendy Egan, says it's really cool when they play acoustic during VIPs. She really digs that. Super cool.
Yeah, we might. Then we might even whip one out during this VIP experience for you. Remind me when you come to this next VIP. If you want to hear an acoustic song, I bet Rashid will whip out the acoustic and we could do something cool.
Super awesome. So let's get into this, man. Before you came on with us, I encouraged everybody to go to Nonpoint's YouTube page and go to your video section. And I encouraged them to go to the part where it starts with the teaser about the creation of the 361 Degrees records, and then to watch the 3-part documentary where each video is about 20 minutes long. Starts in 2020 time frame, right before COVID hit the earth and changed everything for us. Those are the videos that sold me on you guys, as far as not just an amazing band, but amazing people, just with that never give up attitude. Tell me exactly when, maybe there's not like an exact point in time, but when did you guys start having the discussions and then finally settle upon the decision of, hey, we're going to do this on our own. We're going independent. We're going to create this record label. How did that all come about?
I don't think that it was anything that made us decide outside of the world that we were living in. And we really kind of just went we kind of went with the flow, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We had been talking about independence since To the Pain. And that's why that dropping independently, and really when I say independently, yeah, it was independent, but you know, we had somewhat of a label team that we used. So the chance to really be independent, we had never really done it because there was a lot of taboo that was wrapped around the word independent.
Yeah.
But since then, and since times are completely different,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that taboo has lifted. Independent artists are half of, you know, it feels like half of the social conversation when it comes to music. You know, that song, you know, everybody knows that. So you know, or all these TikTok artists that are putting out, you know, what it's just entertaining, fun bits of music that people are you know, falling in love with. So them making full songs and growing that kind of like independent word into something that almost feels championed, we were starting to see that. So it wasn't so scary.
Yeah.
And then as far as, you know, to have the conversation. And then it was suggested by Francesca. She was the one that put that whole documentary together. Shout out to Francesca. She's out with Godsmack right now. Wonderful content creator. She helped us in our first transition into independence because she had worked that model quite a bit. So looking at our band and looking at our audience, she didn't think that we had any issues or we should have any concerns going independent. So, and that was before the pandemic. So then when the pandemic hit and everything hit the brakes, everyone was home. It's like, what are we going to do? So at the time, you know, labels were kind of like, big question mark. No one could support any albums because no one could tour. So we had the opportunity at the time to decide whether or not we wanted to renew our contract.
Yeah.
And we decided to roll the dice on ourselves. And that's what we did. And thankfully, our fans did support us and they followed us. It was literally like nothing different happens. And, you know, I can't attest that to anything but us just being us. We just kept doing what we always do. We saw the signs. We decided to be proactive, and it helped.
So, I've lost my train of thought. That was what I was going to ask you. The thing that is so remarkable to me about you guys is the production quality of everything you're putting out, not just the music, but the videos. I mean, it's like it's like there's no expense spared. And
lately, honestly, I gotta give credit where credit's due. It went from Francesca, now Drew, our current content creator. He's kicking some serious ass with the video. He's kind of teaching me the ropes in video editing and helping me do like little small stuff. Yeah. Rashid has stepped up the comedy and the funny with the green screen stuff that he's been doing on our socials. Right. You know, the video work that we've been doing with the last couple videographers and directors. We knew going into our independence that we wanted to look sharp. And that's what we stick to that. We try to stay looking sharp.
Yeah, it looks very sharp.
Do you plan on, if this is a success for yourself and it starts to do what you want it to do, are there any plans for you to keep this 361 and maybe sign other bands to this label as well?
That is absolutely the next step. That's why we're working our model and making sure that we have the team that then we can say, hey, we found another band that has this kind of work ethic, that can do what we do, that,
Right.
Has someone like, a Drew, has a Rob Rusha, has, an agent, has a press person, has, content and social media knowledge, those kind of things, that they did the work. Because, Pitbull said it, man, there's no special sauce. It's work. You gotta work. And even the people that you see that you're like, oh my God, these people are amazing, and you feel like they blew up overnight, like Sleep Token. Sleep Token, that guy's voice is amazing, and that's why they're great. I guarantee you, he didn't start singing, just a couple months ago.
Right.
He built that. Everyone thinks it happens overnight. They don't see the 5-10 years that you worked prior to get to where you are, and to be able to do it that good.
And of course, you guys are wanting to do this so you can get all of your music to your fans, and by doing that, you are releasing EPs like Heartless and Ruthless, and these are a theme, I guess, a concept of something, the Wizard of Oz theme. Is that correct? Something that you're kind of lyrically putting together.
Yeah, just the Heartless and the Ruthless series was based on that. Right now we're moving into a full body of work, and we wanted to play with the Emerald City's theme, and that's part of our EP series, and that EP series will continue. But we have another series that we're talking about launching soon, through the popularity of our tapes and our tape player.
Oh, sweet.
So we have a Bluetooth Heartless, the last Heartless physical we sold on tape, and then we have the Bluetooth tape player. But we're gonna do something else really fun for our fans, and have a new series coming out, in the near future as well, on top of the full length. But right now we're playing with the full length and seeing where that takes us.
So is it a challenge material, for your, I guess, material wise? Back in the day, bands they'd put together, throw out, 30 songs to the producer. It's like, here's 30 songs. And then they would, sift through them and say, okay, well, these are the 10 best ones out of the 30. But you guys are trying to, as far as like finding a single or, a radio hit type song, if you're only, given a certain amount, is it more challenging to find that radio hit or that, the single that you want to put out?
It's, we really, it's not a top priority of ours.
Okay.
We know that our songs have song quality and song structure. Whether or not a radio station plays it or not is going to be up to them, and a lot of times up to the market.
Right.
They play us in power rotation all day long in Madison, Wisconsin, but I probably haven't been played in I don't know, like a small town, that may have a giant radio station that only is ever played in the air tonight, because that's their format. Mm-hmm. Because they also play heavy country or something, you know what I mean? So sure. There's parts of regions that aren't as familiar as Disturbed is in every single city, but that's who we are, and we don't mind being that. Slayer doesn't get played on the radio either, so
they're doing just fine. I have to commend you guys again for just how business savvy you are, and people watching this, if you're in a band and you guys are trying to get yourselves off the ground and get to the next level, I encourage you to follow what these guys are doing, because you'll hear use of the word team, and it is a team, and it's not just individuals that are playing the instruments. You have these key elements outside, that are part of the team, like Rob Rusha, and you. Who did you say Francesca's working with now? She's not with you guys anymore.
Yeah, she's working with Godsmack actually. Right
Okay,
now.
but you have your new guy Drew.
Yeah.
Key people.
Drew Johnston.
Drew Johnston. Okay.
Yeah, he's an amazing videographer and photographer. He's his edit game is wow.
But yeah, I mean, being so business savvy and realizing that in 2024 the music consumer's attention span is that long, so you have to just feed them a little bit at a time. Just the fact that you guys are recognizing that, I know that's, maybe that sounds dumb, like, well, that's common sense, but I don't think some bands get that. So you guys are listening to what's working and you're following those models, and I think that's why you're achieving the levels of success that you are.
I mean, just like I said,
and also too, we still have our knit, even early on that, what I was talking about with radio, it's that it's not that we don't get played on radio, it's that I know that there's probably about 50 stations, 60 stations across the country that always play our single, so I know that that's what has kept us going. Octane, and and some of our songs on Turbo, it's like there's lots of people that have championed this band over 2 decades, and that's why we survive. Well, we do our best, and we work hard to put out good music and to make sure that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's. But thank God for our fans, thank God for the stations and the labels that signed us and believed in us and put money into us. Our first A&R guy, Hans Haydel. Shout out to Hans Haydel, the first guy that ever believed in our band and was like, "Listen, I'm gonna make you guys the next big thing. Just follow my lead." And he got us right where we needed to be. It was awesome. We've had a great story and a great life, really.
Well, sure. You've done these tours with P.O.D. and bands like Seven Dust, which
great
a lot of those comparisons with you guys, because they grind it out. I mean, Seven Dust has been grinding it out. Indeed. Every year they're here's an album, here's a tour, and here's a festival. Here they come at Rocklahoma, Seven Dust. Nonpoint. You're right on the same thing. And what are some of the things that you've learned touring with bands like P.O.D. and Seven Dust?
Bring your A game.
Right.
Yeah, bring your A game. Be ready to be sweaty. That's what you got to do. You got to be ready to have gig neck. You got to be ready to be very sweaty. You're not going to wear those same clothes the next day, so just go ahead and put those in the bottom of the bag. Yeah. Those go in the hamper underneath the bus. You do not leave those in if on any of those tours. You bring 7 outfits. You bring 7 outfits. That's what you do. That's what you do. So you can play at least once a week.
Right.
I see those arcade style video games behind you. I love the 80s. Rock and roll. Do you have any favorite 80s rockers that you
Those are full size, by the way. They're just very far away.
Okay.
Wait a minute. No.
I can walk there and turn them on, but I don't have quarters. I don't have any quarters.
You have any favorite 80s?
Far away.
I think he's pulling our leg.
That's his game room.
Right.
You have any favorite 80s rockers, bands that you listen to at all, or in some 90s?
80s rockers bands? Oh man, 80s rockers bands. 80s rockers bands from back in the day. I gotta say I was really big into the classic rock era. I love that Doobie Brothers and Kansas and Boston and Bad Company and Christopher Cross and James Taylor and Billy Joel.
For a guy who didn't want to join a band, he sure does know a lot about music.
He knows a ton.
Yeah, the Commodores, Earth, Wind and Fire, Marvin Gaye.
Wow.
And then Journey was huge in the house. A lot of the songs, a lot of the band, Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, the stuff that made me realize I was listening to talented people. Weather Report, a lot of Weather Report in the house, Spyro Gyra, a lot of jazz.
Yeah. And you're also a sports fan?
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, baby.
I am a South Florida, and now actually now Michigan sports fan. I rep where I live because I'm about community.
What'd you think about that cold ass game against the Chiefs? Man, that was a hard
tough.
watch. That was a hard watch.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Is our coach on Xanax? I don't want to put that out there. Was that out loud? I don't know. Was that out loud?
You said it. We didn't.
I'm sorry.
You look just like him.
I love that team. He slurs a lot. I just saying he slurs a lot.
He's a trip, dude. Now, did you see that you guys signed a new tight end today?
Yes.
Are you pumped about that?
I love the team. I'm super supportive. I know he's been dealing with substance problems. I hope he's okay. I worry about people, man. I'm a human being, and I want people to be okay. You know, unfortunately I'm a horrible people pleaser. To my own mental detriment, and I'm sorry, man. I worry about him.
I feel you. Now you said you're repping Michigan teams. We're Red Wings fans.
Yes.
You like you some hockey?
Oh, I am now.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. I used to actually play with the Red Wings back in the day when I used to play Wayne Gretzky on the Genesis.
Now you're talking.
But it's really far away. You can't
right.
see it.
The Sega.
This is the one. This is the one that always freaks people out. Look at that guy.
Oh wow!
Oregon.
What the heck? I don't think I've seen that one before.
No, you haven't. It's
no.
That's so cool.
Let's see if it turns on.
Oh my
Hang
god!
on.
Wow, it did.
It's the original. Yes.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. You can get scurvy with this.
Wow, amazing.
You know,
you get scurvy.
the pandemic, stopped you guys in your tracks. You guys were about to, had a head full of steam, and it just kind of stopped you dead in your tracks. But then you guys found ways to claw out of that, and you did a live stream concert. Any plans to do kind of an online thing again like that, or?
Yes. We're actually about to go live way more when we're together, and we're doing little practice sessions, especially at the spot. Whip out the acoustic, work some songs. We're definitely going to be going live way more, especially in the coming weeks when we're doing practices. So people can definitely take a little peek. We're going to try to get real close to the camera so everybody can hear things, really good.
Wow.
As the popularity of it grows, we're going to make sure that we get, decent mics and get people a really good sound. But
Super
I'm
cool.
excited about that because I think we sound great when we're together and when we're jamming. So it's going to be fun.
Well, Scott, cool. I think we need to start wrapping things up and let him have his Friday night. Do you have anything else before we cut him loose?
Man, I just want to say thank you for giving me just tons of cool material to listen to.
Yes.
When I was going through my issues, and now that I'm not going through my issues, and I love the X record, great stuff. I love Heartless EP, sounds amazing. I was listening to that today. Just keep up the work and the fight, and I know you got it in you. And if you can keep doing those little documentaries, because I love rock and roll documentaries. I just can't get enough of those. So if you do another one like that, man, just put them on your YouTube, man. Give me some entertainment, man. I appreciate it.
You got it. Yeah, we'll work on one for this next run.
Awesome.
We love you, man. Take care. Be safe out there, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Equal.
Take care, bud. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, so nice. So nice. Such a nice guy. Thank you guys for watching tonight. We know that these Friday nights people are usually going out and doing things, but for those of you who hung in there and checked out a super awesome guy, Elias Soriano from Nonpoint, man, what a golden gem that guy is. He is the people's singer. So make sure you guys go out there and support them and all that they do.
Yeah, Rod Wiseman says, see you in Lincoln, counting the days till the
Nice.
Million Watts tour. Yeah, go see him, man. thank you guys for coming in the chat room and rocking out this interview with Elias. We really appreciate you guys, man. Hit follow on our page, man. Tulsa Music Stream. We're always doing interviews, getting cool rock dudes on here, rock ladies, and just doing our thing. And maybe there's someone on here that we've done already. Check out some of our past interviews. They're on Facebook under the videos.
Yep.
And we're also on YouTube, and make sure check out our videos on YouTube.
Let's
we really
give
appreciate
some shout outs to people in the chat room. Amy Nicole followed you all at the start. Thank you, hon. We appreciate that. I'm glad that you enjoyed the interview. David Dobbs says hi. Hello, David. Paul Mitchell, thanks for the interview. Paul, thank you for watching. We appreciate you so much. Amy says music has definitely helped me in my recovery and getting out of my abusive relationship. I think all of us watching tonight, the two of us sitting at this table, would agree that music is a healer. Definitely so. So again, guys, go support Nonpoint. They work so hard, and you mean so much to them. Go watch those videos I was telling you about earlier, the documentary from the 2020 era as they were launching their own label. You'll get a bunch of insight into who they are as people, and you'll follow them from this point forward if you don't already. So we appreciate that. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. Psychomo Filmworks. If you guys have any video needs at all, he is your guy. You can email psychomo@gmail.com. Like we told you earlier, the Lita Ford and Last in Line show is changing venues. It's going to be at the Cox Business Convention Center in downtown Tulsa. This is on Saturday, April 6th. Doors at 7, show at 8. It's an all-ages event. Just $40. Get those tickets at stubwire.com and then go enjoy that amazing show. It's going to be great. If you have any IT needs whatsoever, contact Dustin Little at OkiePC, 918-640-0892. Email Dustin at okiepc.com for any IT needs you guys might have. We gave a shout out to the Shipmans earlier. They do your branding right, you guys. If you need some sharp looking pictures for your business, your high school student that's getting ready to graduate, your band, these are your people. Go to shipmanphotos.com and get a hold of them for your photography needs. What about screen printing? You guys need some t-shirts done, or some jackets, hats, anything you need printed. Go to Todd Cook at Identity Merch, 918-521-5660, or email Todd at identitymerch.com. Like we told you at the start of the show, we're not just visible here on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If you guys will go over to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so anytime we go live, you will be notified about that. We really appreciate you all helping us grow that channel as we grow the show. And if you like podcast format of the show, you can hear us on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. All right.
It's cool that when I was telling him about that song, Fix This, the Pip 361, put, dude, Fix This is literally helping me just like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. God, that's wonderful. It's a healer, man. I'm telling you, it's a gift. And God bless the people that are putting the music out that's helping heal us all. It's definitely a blessing.
I actually had a good time,
Had a great time. That's amazing.
Listening to him explain their situation, what they're going through, things that they are going to do, and it's always cool to hear things like his experience with Ozfest and when he first joined the band and everything. It's funny how a guy can go from talking about I didn't want to join a band, I didn't know any much about it to
right.
to like years later, telling us who we've been doing bands for years, how the business is working and how involved he's getting and how much growth it goes, from learning TikTok, doing, videos, doing all this stuff. And it's like he's just, from being an outsider of this world to being an absolute,
he's a businessman.
Right.
I mean, he's not just a singer, he's a businessman, and he gets how business works. And I think everybody in that band does. I don't think there's one guy not pulling his weight. I mean, I think everybody's in it to win it, and they do have a good team. And really, really enjoy Nonpoint and hope those guys will go as far as their dreams will take them. They are a fantastic band. Why don't we get out of here and go start the weekend? And I don't know what we're doing. Probably a whole lot of nothing. But this was something. This was fun. We're going to go get to work on more interviews for you guys. You ready to sign off?
Anytime you want.
All
We're
right,
good. Thank you guys for joining with us, and we appreciate you guys so much, and have a great weekend. Just take care of yourself and stay safe. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time on Tulsa Music Stream. Good night.